I'm gonna read it. I have to read it. I can't just. Hi, guys. If you haven't already heard, there is a book out that is causing quite a lot of controversy. That book is American Dirt by Jeanine Cummins. This person. So, American Dirt by Jeanine, that person, is a story of an immigrant woman from Mexico and her 8-year-old boy. And they are on their way to the United States because a cartel is after them. This story was picked up by Oprah. It's part of her book club. And also Barnes & Noble has made it their book club of the month. And the author of this book has received a 6-figure advance for this book. So this book is a big deal. It is kind of representative of the immigrant experience right now. Now, the problem is, it was written by a white lady. That's one of the reasons people are upset. Another complaint is that this book stereotypes Mexicans. I heard another complaint that said if current conservatives read this book, they would use it as an example or as a reason why we need to keep Mexicans away from the States. All kinds of shit. And you know, initially, when I heard the reviews and I heard about this book, I thought, oh no, don't do us dirty like that. But you know what? After I calmed the fuck down, I thought, you know, Jeanine here is using her platform to give brown people a voice, is what she said about writing this book. She said that she wanted to give a voice to the brown masses. Did she say brown masses, or am I putting words in her mouth? Things haven't gone over well. But I also thought, you know, maybe she's doing us a favor. She's putting these topics out there. Without the controversy of this book, we wouldn't be talking about who has the right to write other people's stories and that kind of thing. Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. This video is me telling you that I am going to read this book because if you don't know this, I am a Chicana. I am a Mexican American. And even then, I'm not representative of the whole raza. I got to tell you right now, because I was born in the States. So if I go to Mexico, they're going to be like, the fuck, you ain't Mexican. But here in the States, you ain't American. I don't know. It's a very fine line. That's why the term Chicana is a thing, which means you have a foot in both sides, you know? And Chicano culture has its own thing, you know? It's really cool. So even then, I'm going to be reading this from my perspective. My parents crossed over through various means that I will not discuss. Mind your business. So my experience isn't that, but people are upset that an author who has no experience, isn't even part of that group, is representing these experiences. Now, Jeanine did say that she did a lot of research about this book before writing it. She did express some concern about if she even should write it. And I first heard about this book through a review by a feminist journalist named Miriam Gurba. Her review was scathing. Apparently, a feminist magazine had reached out to her to give a review of this book. Miriam Gurba did not like it, tore the book apart. I mean, not physically. Well, I don't know what she did physically. But in her review, she talked mad shit. Mad papas. I think the title of her article was something like, Pendeja, you ain't Steinbeck. Very eye-catching title. So I read the whole thing and it got my blood boiling. And I was like, that's so stupid. How dare, you know, I got a little upset, but that was only one side, right? I need to read the book so that I can decide if Jeanine here is doing La Raza a disservice or a favor, right? And it's going to be very difficult to read this objectively. I'm going to tell you right now, which is why I have done due diligence and I have written out questions that I will try to answer honestly to myself. Things I will ask myself as I read this or afterwards. Is it well written? So if we're going to talk about literature, and we're not just going to bash an author for the color of that person's skin or their race, even though race is a construct, I'm going to ask myself, is it well written? Objectively. Is the story compelling? Oprah picked it up because she said that I forgot what word she used, but she said pretty much that it like punched her in the gut, right? Although that is one of the criticisms too about Oprah. Would Oprah have promoted a book about the Black experience written by a white lady? It is what it is. Oh, I will tell you though, Oprah, amid the controversy, did say that, upon hearing people's opinions, she has decided that this book needs a deeper discussion. We need to have a bigger conversation about this book. So I do respect her for that, because she wasn't no bitch where she was like, oh no, you're right, I'm sorry, this book sucks. No, she didn't do that. And she also didn't stick to her guns and was like, fuck you public, I'm Oprah, I'm gonna pick whatever book I want. No, she didn't do that either. What she did was acknowledge that there are people on both sides of the debate and decided to have a bigger conversation about it. So, respect, Oprah. Is it accurately representing a group of people? This is where it gets tricky, because I didn't cross over. I was born here, so that is not my experience. I can ask my mom. My mom has told me her stories. My grandma has told me her stories. But from my perspective, is Jeanine I cannot say her name because there's no G at the end, and I want to say Cummings, but it's Cummins? The author. I want to know if the author has done Mexicans a good or a bad. As Chicano writers, as Mexican writers, we didn't blow up that big, although there was another article published called American Dirt is the reason why the publishing industry is broken, or something like that, because this was a very deliberate thing. Latino writers do exist. They do write about the immigration experience. Those books are out there, but these books don't get picked up and pushed as aggressively by publishing companies. So the fact that this one got picked and promoted and a ton of money was spent on it, pushing it and paying the author, and it is where it is now, I mean, that is it's a little shady. But also the backlash, that in that sense the backlash seems justified, but also is there a little bit of just anger that it's not us? I don't know. Is this anger justified? So is it fair that something like this happened? Because as of right now, without having read the book, I think that, yeah, minority writers don't get picked up as much as they really should. People are already writing about these experiences, and you could hear it from somebody that is closer and more familiar with the subject, but instead you're hearing it from someone like Jeanine. But this world isn't fair, and we must acknowledge that if minorities are already being overlooked, and it took someone like Jeanine to put the word out, is it bad? Or is it a necessary evil? I mean, evil is kind of a strong word. Does this book make a positive change? And that's what I was talking about. Maybe this controversy over this book is what's necessary to finally pay closer attention to Latino voices. So I'm going to read this, and even though I'm gonna be a biased bitch, I'm gonna try really hard to not be, because it's not fair. Jeanine Cummins is a person who spent a lot of time writing a book, right? Books are not easy. If it was easy, I'd be writing one right now. I'd be saying for years that I've been wanting to write one, but have I done it? No. But that's because I have performance anxiety, and I don't want people reading my shitty writing. That's beside the point though. So let's just see how it goes. I understand the anger, and initially I was angry too. But let's read the fucking book.